In this video, traders, let's talk about recency bias. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, so I think years ago I've done a video on this recency bias. I covered a lot of the biases that we have that impact our trading. This one kind of was a little bit aware of recently myself, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to do a video for the channel on that because I've felt that and I have to combat that in my mind. So let me talk you through kind of what it is and how we need to be aware that it's not impacting our trading negatively. So recency bias is generally a human being's tendency to put far more weight on what happened recently, or far more credibility or credence to what happened recently. You know, if you think about a courtroom, the lawyers, when they do the summing up, they use that to their advantage, and they put the main points right there in front of the jury before they go away and deliberate, because you know something that was said days ago in evidence might be forgotten, and they want to highlight the important points, and so that's a recency bias. It's in their mind, fresh in their mind. So from a trader's perspective, we've got to be very careful that the results of a previous trade don't impact how we trade the next trade. And it nearly got me the other day, and I thought, oh, that's the first time for a while I've thought about this. And it's because I was trying to trade in an aggressive manner. I was trying to really size up on a particular position. I was trying to add aggressively to the position. I was trying to take as much out of it as I possibly could. And the next opportunity came up, and it was the same scenario, and I found myself maybe trading it slightly differently than I should, or not quite. I mean, I look back on it objectively, I think, you know what, you probably did trade very slightly differently. It wasn't that detrimental, but it was an important thing to note. Definitely something I've noted in my journal and said, hey, hang on, just watch out for that, because there were two trades in quick succession, which is kind of unusual for me, or the same type of theme of trade, because it just happened to set up in the same way, and you've got the same target for it. And there's been a kind of structure that's happened in between. So it's an unusual scenario, but you've kind of thought about that a little bit too much, and maybe, and what actually happened was I wasn't as aggressive as I should have been really on the second play. Let me kind of give you an example of what it was. So market kind of dips lower, and I end up buying kind of at the lows here. Great. So I buy the lows, and then I scale a little bit more as we start to push up here. And then I scale a little bit more in here. I should add this actually. I had a price target up here, right? So this is my price target, and I like to reverse engineer from a target. I'm going to do a video about that actually very shortly, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Talk about how I like to, or I prefer personally to use targets and then work my way back from that to initiate the trade. That's by the by. Check out that one when it comes out. So adding long, all good, okay? All looking fine, and price looks like it's gonna, rip up, and I thought, great, I've got a great core entry there. I've added on some strength here, added on that breakout there, and then of course the market just reverses hard, comes back, and then again stopped out. Very, very slight loss, just pretty much a scratch trade, right? Fine. So, and I'm not bothered about that in that time. I'm definitely not, because that's the name of the game, right? If you're going to add two positions like that, you have to accept that. And that's something you have to be comfortable with when you're adding to the trade. Like, okay, if I'm adding to this trade, I'm going to adjust my break even. Am I comfortable with that? And my thinking was, yes, you know what? The way I'm adding to this trade, there's my first entry, there's my second, there's my third. The break even is going to be still in a level where I'm happy to have the stop. It's a level where I would have put the stop up to, if I was just in that core position anyway, I think. Although that would have already locked in profit, but that's the way that I'm approaching it. Okay, fine. But it came back, stopped me out, and I wasn't too concerned. Would I have liked to go to target? Of course I would. At the biggest size not the biggest size possible, but in the bigger size, I'm adding twice to it, and that's what you want, right? You trade your winners, you want your biggest size. And if that had gone against me in the beginning, I'd have been in smaller size, I would have been stopped out. So it's theoretically the best type of trade you can take. Okay, fine. Now we get the same setup again. I've still got this target. I'm still thinking I've got this target. And we get a similar type of setup where I end up buying, it was a little bit higher actually, but let's use for example purposes, I end up buying again here. Fine. I buy here, I end up adding a little bit more as we start to go up here. And then when we get to this level, right, which is the prior break, I was thinking, well, I need to just add another clip. This has changed sentiment. Everything's lined up great. There's a target there. Add another clip, add another clip, add another clip. You've got to add another clip. And what do? I didn't add another clip. And I hesitated for a bit, and it was just strong. This thing was just like bomb, 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 bomb. And by that time, there's no way I'm adding. And so it came up, hit my target. I actually went straight through the target, but I came out of my target as I planned to do. And it was a nice trade, nice profitable trade, good chunky trade. But when I went back to review things, I was like, why didn't I add a clip here? Why was number 3 not a buy? Why did I not do that? And the only thing I could think was that this gave me some recency bias. This initial trade, which I took, which ended up being a break even, was just sitting in my brain, just enough to make me go, don't add another one. You know what happened last time? And I don't remember actually having that conversation in my mind, but I just remember just not hesitating enough for it to just run on, then go, okay, you've probably missed that break. And it didn't even pull back. And I mean, maybe I would have, if it had pulled back a bit and I got a kind of decent retracement that kind of found some support, I might have had more time to think clearly and go, you should be buying here. But it didn't, it just ripped. And it was a different attitude that I had for this one than it is this one. Because this trade here, as soon as it broke, I bought because I wanted to. I wanted to do that. I knew that I was trying to buy and be aggressive and buy the break with the cushion of having a good entry from the lows. So anyway, trade worked out okay. But on reflection, I think recency bias was just sitting there a little bit, just enough. Did it impact the trade massively? No, I would have made a little bit extra on that third clip from there to there, but that's, that adds up. And if you do that all the time, you can really impact your P&L. And so something I noted down was, hey, just be careful. And it's an unusual scenario for me to have both very, very similar trades with the same target in one thing, but it's not out of the question, right? So just be careful that you don't think about what happened on the prior trade and have that impact the way you trade this trade. And you can see it was a subtle difference, right? This is perhaps the experience in me from trading 20 plus years I'm still taking the same trade. I'm still looking at it objectively, but just to prove no one's infallible, right? We're human beings. And that third was just paused enough and it's gone. And the pause was just made by the recency bias and it happened to be the situation we were in. So recency bias, watch out for your recency bias, watch about your previous trades, your previous days, all that type of stuff, market conditions, and make sure it doesn't impact your current trading too much. So next one, take care, bye-bye.